Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Fooster, film reporter at TheWrap, and we're so happy to have you for our 2021 Awards and International Screening Series, and we're excited to bring you number 7, Cherry Lane. We're going to show you the trailer first of the movie, and then we'll go right into a conversation with director Yong Fan. And for our audience, go ahead and participate in the live chat at the screen, share your thoughts about this film, and let us know where you're tuning in from. So before we introduce our guest, here's a trailer for number 7, Cherry Lane.
这就是大时代，这是革命。
这不是革命。
随一阵清风，时光飞逝时苦与甜，模糊是当天你的脸，变得难分，只有点点虫鸣在
你爱我吗？
我都可以。
Welcome back, and now it's my pleasure to introduce the director of the film, Yong Fan.
Hi, how are you? Every
Hi,
time
Yong
I
Fan.
see,
Thank you so much for your
every
time.
time I see this trailer, my heart is pounding. It's a 7 years work all into 1 and 30 seconds.
Yeah, and this is, well, it's your 14th film. This is your first film in animation. And
Yeah.
I'm curious, I guess, why now? What was it about animation, specifically this hybrid 2D, 3D style of animation that you felt was the right fit for this kind of story?
Because I think that animation itself has a lot of imagination. And then because it's a combination of paintings, you have 1 second, 24 frames, and then you have to do 24 paintings. And so all combine those paintings, and that because I think painting is something that would last in people's memory, and also it is an art. So I decide that for this movie that I'm going to do, it has to be in animation, because you have imagination, you have reality, and you have hard work, you have easy work, and then all combines together, and it becomes number 7, Cherry Lane.
And it's interesting you talk about that painting and that line between reality and imagination, because I got that impression looking at some of the shots we get of Hong Kong in 1967. Like, there are some scenes where it feels like it's more of a more realistic recreation of Hong Kong, but then there are some other scenes where it becomes much more of it's kind of a surrealist painting. And at the very beginning, we get this shot of this enormous Pan Am jet, just like eclipsing.
Yeah.
It feels like a cloud rather than a jet overhead. Was that balance something that took time to create? Like, or was there some experimentation about how you wanted to portray this time and place in the world?
You know, the first shot is what we have been watching the airplane flying over the roof for more than 40 years. And that is real. And it is so real that people don't believe it is true. And so I use that shot as the opening shot of the movie. It is real, but after so many years, people forgot it, and it becomes surreal. So that is the nuance in between this reality and imagination. So I use that as the opening shot of the movie.
And then for some of the other shots later on in the film, when you're working with your team on creating this setting, did you provide them with some archival photos, or did you have some? Did you let them kind of run freely with their own contributions? How did that all come together?
Yeah, I think to start with, I hired this team from Taiwan to do the illustration for the background scene. And so because I want the background to be drawn in pencil on rice paper and charcoal on rice paper, because in that way you can have a very strong texture, and then that later on we contradict with the linear drawings with the characters, so you have a very big contrast. That is how this whole movie is created. And I believe that I had a very good team, because the people that they're working on this film, they were from Taiwan, they were from China, they're not from Hong Kong. But in my movie, I always believe there is some distant flavor, that if you are from different places and then you create, it gives you a very kind of surreal feeling. And so when the Taiwan artists, they want to come to Hong Kong, I ask them to stay and then take them around all the small streets, also, although nothing is the same anymore. But they can feel, because you go to the place, you feel the place. And I told them, I said, well, of course, I gave them a lot of reference, archives reference, but I said, I don't want to exactly look like the archive photos. It has to be different. Yeah, because otherwise you are just reproducing fake antiques. But I want all my buildings, the street corners, the people, they have its originality. So they did it. And of course, I have to stay with them all the time and to tell them, this is not correct. This is not what I want. But I'm very patient with them, and they are very wonderful people. Yeah, so they work on that.
And not only do we set up these very amazing backdrop, we also really soak in it. This is a very slowly paced film, just taking time to really soak in every setting. Like I think of the scene where we first enter Mrs. Yu's apartment, and there's just a minute of describing everything in the room, with the camera just panning across the different things, eventually settling on Mei Ling's photo. I understand you were a photographer before you started directing. Is that correct? Or
yes,
yeah.
But after all, I'm an art connoisseur. I know paintings, and the paintings, they talk to me. The reason why I can finance all my big epic movies and all that, because all those artists, they finance me. Yeah, so I have to be truthful to them. So for instance, in this movie that I have, well, this one is a little bit more ambitious, because you have French impressionists like Henri Rousseau, you have Erde, and then you have the Chinese ink, and then you have woodblock prints. You have practically everything all squashed up in one single animation movie. It is greedy, but in Chinese we have a dish. Chinese cooking, we have a dish called Buddha's Delight. You put all the ingredients and then make a dish. If this dish is successful, you call it Buddha's Delight. If it is not successful, it is the chop suey in the supermarket.
So you talk about all these paintings, and I sort of, for me, like some of those scenes where we're just really just relaxing, just looking at the setting before moving on with the story. It's kind of like just admiring a painting in a gallery, just stopping and slowing down and enjoying that. Like, is that something that you really wanted to have, or what was the main desire in wanting to have that kind of deliberative pace in
It's
these scenes?
because everything is in my mind. When I
Hmm.
start writing the script, how it starts the movie, and then how actually making this movie is like a scroll of painting, and how you start it, and then how you take the rhythm with you, the music with you, the dialogue with you, the narration with you. It all has to have a rhythm. And so I think as a filmmaker, I was born with this rhythm. But of course, not many people they believe that I have this rhythm. But at least I can talk to the paintings. The paintings they tell me that you have this rhythm within yourself. This is also the other reason why I want to do this animation in 2D. Because if I failed this 2D animation, I have no one else to blame, because you did it yourself. Because this movie first we did a 3D, so all the movement is exactly what I want, and then draw it in 2D is quite a complicated process. I was told never done before. Yeah, but after I finished this movie, you are the only person that is taking all the responsibility.
Hmm.
Don't tell your friends or who failed you.
And now let's talk about there's a lot of cinematic homages in this film.
Uh-huh.
There's Room at the Top, there's Ship of Fools, there's even a little nod to The Graduate on the marquee. I
Yeah.
even got a little hint of Sunset Boulevard in there.
Hmm.
So for you, how did your interest in global cinema develop growing up? Because it's interesting to me that even though this is a film deeply rooted in
Hmm.
Hong Kong and in its history,
Uh-huh.
that the plot focuses so much on all these different films from around the world, particularly in France, but all around the world. So, how did that interest in cinema, how did it grow over the course of your life and your career?
Yeah. You know, I was born in China and then
Hmm.
moved to Hong Kong and then to Taiwan. In my childhood, we have nothing else to play with, only go to the cinema. So when I was very small, I go to cinema all by myself, and then in this darkness, I absorb all the energies from the French Nouveau Vogue, from Hitchcock, from Kurosawa, and all those people. They became my friends. So I think I have all this great opportunity to meet those great filmmakers. Why don't I do a movie attribute to them? So actually, this movie you not only have something from Hitchcock, the shower scene, the
Hmm.
cycle,
Hmm.
and not only you have Gone with the Wind, the silhouette scene, and then you have blow up the invisible tennis. That
Hmm.
starts the movie. But I think it's very original. You have this invisible ball and then drop to the pond and then came out as a real ball and then it started the whole movie. It is my imagination. But then there is one thing that I am very proud of is that my favorite director, Francis Coppola, he made one movie which I think is one of the best movie I love is Outsider.
Hmm.
And the beginning of the movie, there is only one sentence reading, and it says, when he stepped out from the darkness of the picture house into the bright light sunshine, and that he did not make the shot, but this one I dedicate one shot with Mei Ling after she saw her mother was kissing the man he loves. He walked away and opened the door, and then the bright sunlight was shining to her face. And I think, oh, this is my dedication to Francis Coppola.
That's a good. It really is interesting how there's different layers of it. That there's some that's very like on the sleeve, and then some other ones like this one that.
I think my movie has much more layers than that, and I think now I get excited because this movie, it's almost like all my life was put into this movie. My childhood, my adolescence, and then my changing of my political point of view, and it's like a growing up movie. Sorry.
No. This is it does feel like there is a lot of yourself put into this. Like, these are the movies that you most value, and then there's all sorts of sequences in this film that we kind of go from these quiet here's Fan going up a staircase, and all of a sudden we get these very wild and very vivid sequences. I guess we can start since we've been talking about these cinematic influences you have. We can start with the Signoret films that you work on. There are some moments that are a little bit of these faithful recreations, and there are other moments when we're at the cinema that there's more of a creative changes, like the very stylized animation sequences. What made you settle on those specific Signoret films? And then if you could tell us a little bit about the process of working with the animators to create these scenes. I'm sure for you, you kind of had to explain to the animators, like, why are picking these movies and why they're so important to you.
You know, the amazing thing is when I wrote those three Simon Signoret movies, one is Room at the Top, the second one is L'amour célèbre. It is 4 stories with Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, big French movie, and that Simon Signoret movie is one of the episodes, and the third one is Ship of Fools. But all those 3 movies, they will recreate. I don't copy them. So when I was writing the Room at the Top, because it is a movie that really touched my heart when I saw it when I'm in my teens, and so I write the script and I write the shots, not watching the movie. I did not see the movie again because it's easy to have a DVD and then you do things like that. But I did not do this. I just recreate it and then put it together in a kind of a Liechtenstein style. And I tell my animator, I said, when this movie has to be like this bigger than life cartoon Liechtenstein style. So they did it according to my desire. And then when the movie finished, then there was one film critic, and then later on he clipped some of the scenes and sent it back to me. He said, "Those are the scenes that was happening in your film." So I look at it, and I was very touched because I wrote him. I said, "This is my favorite movie," and I think that I was faithful to them because I did not deteriorate their feeling, because the feeling is still there, but the shots and the movements and everything is different, and the dialogue and all that is different. So I was very proud of the Room at the Top. But of course, the second one is total recreation from the ball scene, from the drugging of the Baron. It's totally rewritten, but it's the concern is a younger man falling in love with the elderly woman, and then the Simone Signoret, the last movie, and I was very touched by this movie when I first saw it in Hong Kong, and I even bring in those days I even bring a tape recorder to the cinema and tape the dialogue. And people, and in those days, there was no piracy or whatsoever. They said, "What you do? You're taping the dialogue? You're crazy." I said, "Please let me do." So it was very memorable.
Yeah, and it's really fascinating that you mentioned earlier. We're talking about with recreating Hong Kong, that you want the impressions. You don't want to be like totally faithful recreating, but you want like the impressions and the feelings that this city evokes to be the forefront. And it's the same. You took a pretty similar approach, it seems, to doing these movies as well.
But I think this is about art, because art is not imitation. It is not copy. Your copy is only fake antique. It has to be original. That is the reason why I think that this movie, should not be considered as just an entertainment. Because I mean, a movie of this slow space, definitely it is not entertainment. But I have to have the guts to make the movie in this space, because I think that it is the space that is fit for me, but might not fit for this modern society, might not fit for the Academy voters and all that. But it is for me, it is fit for me. And art has to be honest, has to be truthful.
And you definitely like go out there with some of these big scenes. Like there's that incredibly psychedelic. I don't know if psychedelic is the right word, but then you have like the dream sequence early on. It's a really wild sequence. Just tell us a little bit about making that scene, like storyboarding that scene out, and the different designs. Was that did the idea all the different did all the imagery from that, was that something that you had in your mind early on, or were there some ideas that got left on the floor? And I'm just wondering how that all that came together.
And I think also art is not so that serious. You should have fun, you know. You should have fun. You have wild imagination, and then sometimes run away a little bit, and to get yourself loose, and to be funny, and to be kitsch. Many people, they call my movie kitsch, and I don't mind it, because I mean, I know what I'm doing. Kitsch is only a word. If you despise this person, you can probably use the word kitsch. But I don't despise myself, so I do it. If you say it, I think it's fine with me. But I think the most important thing is having fun. When you are serious in the movie. But when you are having fun, have a lot of fun, like the cat licking good.
I mean, that is one of those.
I think it's a wonderful thing, because one of my friends, when he went to the preview of the movie, he said he has seen all those Japanese animation, or the kind of sex lithographs from all those. He said, "Boy, young fan, I've never seen someone using the cat."
Like it really makes me sad now that so many people can't see it in a theater, because it's one of those, some of those sequences. It's just, I can only imagine what it'd be like sitting in a theater and everyone's just like, whoa.
You know, because this movie, I said at the beginning, I said to myself, I made it for the big screen. So for all the time that this movie that was showing in the big screen, and it was always IMAX or those big cinema. So when they look at it, things like that.
All right, and finally, you know, so now that you've done your first animated film, I'm sort of wondering, is this something that like now that you've done it once that you feel like you really want to try it again? Is that what do you think is in the future for you in animation? Is there any other ideas that come to mind that you think you might want to give it a shot with that animation style?
I think probably this is the only animation that I did, and
Mhm.
I'm proud of it. But I never repeat myself
Mhm.
and in my work, so I don't think I will make another animation. So
Mhm.
so treasure it.
Well, number seven, Cherry Lane, is in contention for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars this year. And Yang Fan, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming out and talking to us about your very striking and incredible film here at TheWrap. And thank you to all you viewers for joining us today. It's great to have you all. Be sure to take advantage of our free trial to Wrap Pro and be the first to know about upcoming Wrap screenings and events. You can also register for upcoming screenings and catch up on any past screenings you may have missed by visiting thewrap.com. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Can I say some few words? Because this is my first time joining this animation nomination. And actually that I started to join this, and then actually I myself, I think that competition doesn't mean very much to me, but the thing is to get your film exposed to the right place, to the right people. And I think this Academy nomination worked out very good, because we have never received so many compliments from people who has heard of the film but haven't seen the film, but then is waiting to watch the film on the wrap and all that. I think the whole feeling is great. Thank you.